There's an old story about a Chinese bamboo farmer that perfectly captures what most traders get completely wrong about success in the markets. This farmer plants bamboo seeds, waters them every single day, fertilizes the soil, and tends to his field with absolute dedication. But here's the thing: for 5 years, nothing happens. 5 entire years of work with nothing to show for it. No shoots, no growth, nothing visible above the ground. His neighbors laugh at him. His family questions his sanity. Everyone tells him to give up and plant something that actually grows. But he keeps watering, keeps tending, keeps showing up every single day. Then, in the 6th year, something miraculous happens. The bamboo shoots up 90 feet in just 6 weeks. 90 feet in 6 weeks. But here's what everyone misses: it wasn't really 6 weeks of growth. It was 5 years of root development happening underground where nobody could see it, followed by the explosive growth that everyone witnesses. And this is exactly what separates profitable traders from those who blow up their accounts over and over again. Most traders approach the markets like they're playing a slot machine. They want instant results, immediate gratification, that dopamine hit from a winning trade right now. They see someone post a screenshot of a big win on social media and think that's what trading looks like. They watch those YouTube videos with the Lamborghinis and the stacks of cash and believe that's just around the corner for them too. So, they jump into trades, chase price action, overtrade, revenge trade, and inevitably destroy their accounts. Then they blame the market, blame their broker, blame the strategy, blame everything except the one thing that's actually the problem: their complete lack of discipline. But there's this concept from Chinese philosophy that's been around for thousands of years, and it holds the secret to staying calm, consistent, and profitable in trading. It's called Wu Wei. And before you think this is going to be some mystical nonsense, let me tell you, this is the most practical trading psychology concept you'll ever encounter. Wu Wei literally translates to non-action or effortless action, but it doesn't mean doing nothing. It means acting in accordance with the natural flow of things, not forcing outcomes, not fighting against reality, not trying to impose your will on the market. It means doing what needs to be done without unnecessary effort, strain, or emotional turbulence. Think about water for a moment. Water doesn't fight its way down a mountain. It doesn't get angry when it encounters a rock. It simply flows around obstacles, taking the path of least resistance, and yet over time, water carves through solid stone. Water doesn't force anything, yet it's one of the most powerful forces in nature. This is Wu Wei. And this is exactly how successful traders operate. They don't force trades. They don't fight the market. They don't impose their opinions on price action. They simply flow with what the market gives them, take what's available, and let everything else pass by without emotional attachment. Now, let's contrast this with how most traders actually behave. They open their charts with a plan to make money today, not to execute their strategy, not to follow their rules, but to make money. That's already a violation of Wu Wei because they're trying to force an outcome. The market doesn't care about your bills, your goals, or your need to make money today. The market is going to do what it's going to do regardless of what you want. So, when you sit down at your computer demanding that the market give you something, you've already lost. You're fighting against reality before you've even placed a single trade. Then what happens? You see a setup that's almost there, but not quite. Your strategy says to wait for confirmation, but you've already decided you need to make money today, so you jump in early. You're forcing it. That's the opposite of Wu Wei. Or maybe your strategy gives you a signal, but you hesitate because you're still emotional from the last losing trade, so you miss the entry and then chase it at a worse price because you don't want to miss out. Again, you're fighting against the natural flow, letting your emotions override your process. Or maybe you hit your daily loss limit, but instead of stepping away like your rules require, you keep trading because you're convinced you can make it back. You're forcing outcomes, fighting reality, and the market will punish you for it every single time. The beautiful thing about Wu Wei in trading is that it removes all of this internal conflict. When you truly embrace this philosophy, trading becomes simple. Not easy, but simple. You're not at war with yourself anymore. You're not constantly battling your emotions, your fears, your greed. You have a strategy, you have rules, and when the market presents an opportunity that aligns with your strategy, you take it. When it doesn't, you don't. There's no forcing, no struggling, no emotional turbulence. Just simple execution of a plan. It's like breathing. You don't have to think about it, force it, or fight it. It just happens naturally. Let me give you a concrete example of what this looks like in practice. Imagine you're a price action trader who looks for specific candlestick patterns at key support and resistance levels. You sit down, you review the charts, you identify your levels, and then you wait. Hours might pass with nothing happening. A trader without discipline, without Wu Wei, gets restless. They start looking for trades that aren't there. They start dropping down to lower time frames, switching to different pairs, looking at random coins that are moving, anything to satisfy that urge to do something. They're fighting against the natural rhythm of the market, but a trader who embraces Wu Wei simply waits. They're completely comfortable doing nothing because they understand that the market will present opportunities when it's ready, not when they want it to. Then finally, price approaches one of your levels, and your pattern starts to form, but it's not complete yet. The final confirmation candle hasn't closed. This is where most traders fail. Their finger is hovering over the mouse. Their heart rate increases. They're already imagining the profits, and they click the button before the setup is actually complete. They couldn't wait those final few minutes because they're operating from a place of force, of need, of emotional urgency. But the Wu Wei trader waits for complete confirmation because they're not forcing anything. They're simply responding to what the market presents. And if that confirmation never comes and the setup fails, no problem. They don't get emotional about it. The market simply didn't give them what their strategy requires. So they continue waiting. No frustration, no anger, no revenge trading. This is where that Chinese bamboo farmer comes back into the picture. He understood something that most people don't. Success is not about what happens on the surface. It's about what you do consistently below the surface when nobody is watching and nothing seems to be working. He didn't check the soil every day to see if the bamboo was growing yet. He didn't dig up the seeds every week to see if roots were forming. He didn't quit after year 3 when everyone told him he was wasting his time. He simply showed up every day and did the work without attachment to immediate results. That's Wu Wei. That's discipline. And that's exactly what profitable trading requires. You see, the markets reward consistency over time, not brilliance in the moment. You don't need to be smarter than everyone else. You don't need to have some secret indicator or special strategy. You need to do the boring, repetitive work of following your rules every single day, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Most traders quit right before their roots would have allowed them to grow because they're so focused on the visible results they're not getting. They don't realize that every trade they don't take that would have been outside their rules is building discipline. Every loss they accept without revenge trading is strengthening their psychological foundation. Every day they show up and execute their process, regardless of the results, is deepening their roots. And here's something that most trading educators won't tell you, because it doesn't sell courses. Most of your trading days should be boring. If trading is exciting, if it's giving you an adrenaline rush, if you're feeling intense emotions throughout the day, you're doing it wrong. You're forcing, you're fighting, you're operating from a place of ego and emotion rather than discipline and process. The traders who make consistent money, their trading is mundane. It's repetitive. It's almost mechanical. They're not getting high from wins or devastated by losses. They're just executing their process, day after day, letting the statistical edge play out over time. This is what Wu Wei looks like in trading. You're engaged, but not attached. You're focused, but not forcing. You're active, but not aggressive. You place trades when your strategy signals them. You manage them according to your rules, and you close them when your exit criteria are met. Everything else is just noise. And most importantly, you're completely at peace with whatever outcome occurs because you understand that individual trades mean nothing. What matters is the consistency of your process over hundreds and thousands of trades. Now, there's another aspect of Wu Wei that's crucial for traders to understand: the concept of not resisting what is. This is where most traders create massive psychological damage for themselves. They resist reality constantly. They get into a trade, and it immediately goes against them. Instead of accepting this reality and managing the trade according to their rules, they resist. They hold on, hoping it will turn around, refusing to take the loss, because taking the loss means admitting they were wrong. They're fighting reality. Or they take 3 losses in a row, which is completely normal and should be expected, but they resist this reality. They get angry, they question their strategy, they change their approach, all because they're refusing to accept that drawdowns are a natural part of trading. The Wu Wei approach is completely different. When a trade goes against you, you don't resist it. You accept it immediately and manage it according to your rules. Take the loss and move on. When you hit a drawdown period, you don't resist it. You accept that this is part of the statistical distribution of your strategy, and you continue executing your process. When the market is choppy and not giving you clean setups, you don't resist it by forcing trades. You accept that this is the current market condition, and you wait for better conditions. This acceptance, this non-resistance, is what allows you to stay calm and make rational decisions regardless of what's happening. Think about how much energy traders waste fighting reality. They fight losing trades by holding them too long. They fight winning trades by getting out too early because they're afraid the profit will disappear. They fight the market by trying to predict tops and bottoms instead of responding to what's actually happening. They fight their emotions by trying to suppress them instead of acknowledging them and trading anyway. They fight the learning process by expecting to be profitable immediately instead of accepting that mastery takes years. All of this resistance creates internal conflict, stress, anxiety, and ultimately poor trading decisions. But when you stop fighting and start flowing, trading becomes so much easier. And this is where the real transformation happens. When you stop trying to force the market to do what you want and instead respond to what it's actually doing, you stop losing money on stupid trades. When you stop resisting losses and accept them as part of the process, you stop revenge trading and destroying your account. When you stop fighting your emotions and instead acknowledge them while following your rules anyway, you develop genuine discipline. When you stop trying to get rich quick and instead commit to building your roots like that bamboo farmer, you create the foundation for long-term success. But let me be very clear about something. Wu Wei is not passivity. It's not just sitting back and hoping the market gives you money. It's not about being lazy or unfocused. Wu Wei is about effortless action, which means you're taking action, but that action flows naturally from your preparation, your strategy, and your discipline rather than from your ego, your emotions, or your need to force outcomes. You're still doing the work. You're still analyzing the markets, refining your strategy, reviewing your trades, managing your risk, executing your plan. But you're doing all of this from a place of calm centeredness, rather than anxious striving. The Chinese have another saying that relates to this: the wise adapt themselves to circumstances, as water molds itself to the pitcher. Think about what this means for trading. The market is constantly changing. Volatility expands and contracts. Trends develop and end. Correlations shift. What worked last month might not work this month. A trader who tries to force the market to behave in a certain way, who refuses to adapt, who keeps using the same approach regardless of changing conditions, that trader is going to suffer. But a trader who molds themselves to current market conditions, who accepts what the market is giving them rather than demanding what they want, that trader can survive and thrive through any market environment. This doesn't mean constantly changing your strategy or jumping from one approach to another. That's the opposite of discipline. It means understanding the type of market conditions your strategy works best in, having the patience to wait for those conditions, and having the wisdom to reduce activity or step aside when conditions aren't favorable. It means being flexible in your execution while remaining rigid in your rules. It means accepting that some months will be fantastic, some will be break-even, and some will be losers, and all of that is completely fine because you're playing an infinite game, not trying to win every single day. And here's the most powerful part of embracing Wu Wei in your trading. It completely removes the emotional roller coaster that destroys most traders. When you're not forcing outcomes, you can't be disappointed when things don't go your way because you weren't expecting them to go your way in the first place. You were simply responding to what the market gave you. When you're not resisting reality, you can't be frustrated by losses because you fully accept that losses are part of reality. When you're not fighting the market, you can't be exhausted by trading because you're not expending unnecessary energy on emotional battles. You just show up, execute your process, and let the results be whatever they're going to be. Remember that bamboo farmer. 5 years of work with nothing to show for it. But he kept watering, kept tending, kept showing up. He wasn't forcing the bamboo to grow. He was simply creating the conditions for growth and trusting the process. And when the time was right, the growth was explosive. Your trading journey is the same. You might trade for months or even years without seeing the results you want. But if you're following your rules, managing your risk, executing your process, and building discipline every single day, you're developing roots. Deep, strong roots that will eventually support explosive growth. But you have to be patient. You have to trust the process. You have to embrace Wu Wei and stop forcing outcomes. The market will reward you when you're ready, not when you want it to. And when that reward comes, everyone will see the 90 feet of growth in 6 weeks, but they won't see the 5 years of discipline that made it possible. That's your edge. That's what separates you from the 95% of traders who fail. So stop forcing, stop fighting, stop resisting. Flow with the market, execute your process, and let the results take care of themselves.